Sandy Hook School. Callers indicating she thinks there's someone shooting in the building.
Connecticut State Police and SWAT teams are now responding to a school shooting at an elementary school in Newtown. And we can tell you that one shooter is dead at Sandy Hook Elementary. The school now cleared of shooters. Newtown police say there is at least one other person shot.
The worst grade school shooting in U.S. history, at least 27 dead, 20 children, 7 adults, including the principal. And the gunman killed himself.
As a country, we have been through this too many times. Whether it's an elementary school in Newton, or a shopping mall in Oregon, or a temple in Wisconsin, or a movie theater in Aurora, or a street corner in Chicago, these neighborhoods are our neighborhoods, and these children are our children. And we're going to have to come together and take meaningful action to prevent more tragedies like this, regardless of the politics.
Never in my life did I ever think that we would have 20 children slaughtered. So it changed everything.
What many are calling in this country a watershed moment in the wake of the massacre in Newtown. Some stores are pulling certain guns off their shelves, and President Obama is set to make a major announcement this morning.
Over these past 5 days, a discussion has reemerged as to what we might do not only to deter mass shootings in the future, but to reduce the epidemic of gun violence that plagues this country every single day. There's no law or set of laws that can prevent every senseless act of violence in our society. A majority of Americans support banning the sale of military-style assault weapons. A majority of Americans support banning the sale of high-capacity ammunition clips. That's why I've asked the Vice President to lead an effort that includes members of my cabinet and outside organizations to come up with a set of concrete proposals no later than January, proposals that I then intend to push without delay.
Hi there, everyone. This is Dan Dix reporting for Press for Truth. The recent shootings at the Sandy Hook Elementary School in Newtown, Connecticut have sparked intense debate on the Second Amendment constitutional rights of American citizens versus the laws surrounding gun control. Ever since the assault rifle ban ended in 2004, there has been an increase in not only the amount of assault rifles, but also all guns in general being purchased in the United States. The constitutional rights of the American citizens are among some of the most cherished values with which a citizenry can arm itself from tyrannical governments. However, this is recently under attack because of the rise of mass shootings, the increase by the coverage from the media, and pressure from anti-gun lobbyists. Before we can examine this phenomenon any further, let's first look at the history of mass shootings, not only in America, but all over the world. The earliest known shooting in the United States on school property was the Pontiac's Rebellion School Massacre on July 26, 1764, where 4 Delaware American Indians entered the schoolhouse near present-day Greencastle, Pennsylvania, shot and killed schoolmaster Enoch Brown, and killed 10 children. Only 3 survived. The Bremen school shooting occurred on June 20th, 1913 at St. Mary's Catholic School in Bremen, Germany. The gunman, 29-year-old unemployed teacher Heinz Schmidt, indiscriminately shot at students and teachers, causing the death of 5 girls and wounding more than 20 other people before being subdued by staff. May 18, 1927, Bath, Michigan school treasurer Andrew Cahoe, after killing his wife and destroying his house and farm, blew up the Bath Consolidated School by detonating dynamite in the basement of the school, killing 38 people, mostly children. He then pulled up to the school and set off a truck bomb, killing himself and 4 others. This was the deadliest act of mass murder at a school in the United States. On May 6, 1940, South Pasadena, California, after being removed as principal of South Pasadena Junior High School, Verlin Spencer shot 6 school officials, killing 5 before attempting to commit suicide by shooting himself in the stomach. February 2, 1960, Hartford City, Indiana, Principal Leonard Redden shot and killed 2 teachers with a shotgun at William Reed Elementary School before fleeing into a remote forest where he committed suicide. The Cologne School Massacre occurred in a Catholic elementary school located in Cologne, Germany on June 11, 1964, when Walter Seifert, killed 8 students and 2 teachers using a homemade flamethrower. August 1st, 1966, Charles Whitman, aged 25, climbed atop the observation deck at the University of Texas, Austin, killing 16 people and wounding 31 others during a 96-minute shooting rampage. On July 12, 1976, the school's custodian at the California State University Fullerton opened fire with a semi-automatic rifle in the library, killing 7 and wounding 2. The École Polytechnique Massacre, also known as the Montreal Massacre, occurred on December 6, 1989. 25-year-old Marc Lepine, armed with a legally obtained semi-automatic rifle and a hunting knife, shot 28 people, killing 14, all of them women, and injuring the other 14 before killing himself. This event led to the creation of the Long Gun Registry in Canada, which required all gun owners to register their long guns in order to track them. In 2011, the Government of Canada got rid of the Long Gun Registry under the direction of Prime Minister Stephen Harper. The Dunblane Massacre was a multiple murder-suicide which occurred at Dunblane Primary School in the Scottish town of Dunblane on March 13, 1996. 16 children and 1 adult were killed, in addition to the attacker who committed suicide. It remains the deadliest attack on children in the United Kingdom's history. In response to this, laws were passed making private ownership of handguns illegal in the United Kingdom. March 24, 1998, Jonesboro, Arkansas, 4 students and 1 teacher killed, 10 others wounded outside as West Side Middle School emptied during a false fire alarm. Mitchell Johnson, 13, and Andrew Golden, 11, shot at their classmates and teachers from the woods. April 20th, 1999, at Columbine High School, 14 students, including 2 shooters, and 1 teacher were killed, leaving 27 others wounded. Eric Harris, 18, and Dylan Klebold, 17, had plotted for a year to kill at least 500 and blow up their school. At the end of their hour-long rampage, they turned their guns on themselves. The Virginia Tech Massacre was a school shooting that took place on April 16, 2007, on the campus of Virginia Polytech Institute and the State University in Blacksburg, Virginia. Sung Hui Cho shot and killed 32 people and wounded 17 others in 2 separate attacks, approximately 2 hours apart, before committing suicide. November 5, 2009, at Fort Hood, the most populous U.S. military installation in the world, located just outside Killeen, Texas, saw Nidal Malik Hassan, a U.S. Army major serving as a psychiatrist, open fire on the military base. In the course of the shooting, he killed 13 people and wounded 29 others. It is the worst shooting ever to take place on an American military base. On January 8, 2011, U.S. Representative Gabriel Giffords and 18 other people were shot by Jared Lee Lochner during a public meeting held in a supermarket parking lot near Tucson, Arizona. 6 of those who were shot died, including Arizona District Court Chief Judge John Roll, one of Representative Gifford's staffers, and a 9-year-old child, Christina Taylor Green. The Norway Massacre occurred on July 22, 2011. The admitted shooter, Anders Breivik, killed 69 people in a combination of bombing and gun attacks at 2 locations. Even though Norway has a total ban on assault rifles, Breivik obtained a legal permit for a Mini 14 semi-automatic carbine. He also purchased a Glock pistol and several high-capacity magazines for these weapons. Beside visiting firing ranges and countries with relaxed gun laws to sharpen his skill, his manifesto claims he made use of the video game Call of Duty Modern Warfare 2 as a training aid. On Friday, July 20, 2012, a mass shooting occurred inside a Century movie theater in Aurora, Colorado, during a midnight screening of the film The Dark Knight Rises. A gunman dressed in tactical clothing set off tear gas grenades, and shot into the audience with multiple firearms, killing 12 and injuring 59 others. The sole suspect is James Egan Holmes, who was arrested outside the cinema minutes later. On August 5, 2012, a mass shooting took place at a Sikh temple in Oak Creek, Wisconsin, with a gunman killing 6 people and wounding 4 others. The shooter, Wade Michael Page, a white supremacist, shot several people of the Sikh faith at the temple and also a responding police officer. After being shot in the stomach by another officer, Page fatally shot himself in the head. December 14, 2012, Adam Lanza, age 20, allegedly killed 26 people and himself at the Sandy Hook Elementary School in Newtown, Connecticut. It is believed he first killed his mother at their shared home before taking her guns and driving to the school.
I think America, this is sadly their wake-up call, even though over the last 10, 15 years they've had a lot of tragedies with Columbine, with multiple mall shootings, with the one with the Batman movie over, I guess, a few months ago.
I feel like there's this mentality that sort of says, like, yeah, we can do whatever we want with them because it's our right, like we're allowed to have guns and we should do what we will with them. Because it just doesn't seem logical for people to have such ridiculously high-powered weapons just to hang around in their house. Like, it doesn't seem to make any sense to me.
I think everybody should have the right to defend themselves, but I don't think that everybody has the right to control a gun. It's not the gun that's dangerous, it's the person holding it, because you're going to take life. And life is not something, it's not like a flower, it's not going to grow back tomorrow. Then you got to live with that the rest of your freaking life. Can you do that?
The reasons that people kill are as varied as the individuals themselves. Most murders are crimes of passion that are due to argument or anger being involved. Very few murders are committed by mentally ill people who go on shooting rampages. It is estimated that between 1% and 3% of people in society fit the characteristics of a psychopath or antisocial personality disorder as described by the DSM-4.
A psychopath is a person who has an inability to empathize with other people. I think that's the core element of psychopathy, an inability to empathize. People think of empathy as putting yourself in another person's shoes and understanding the way they operate. And psychopaths are exceptionally adroit at that. They can put themselves in your shoes and know what makes you tick and be able to use that information to manipulate you, to move you in directions they want to move you. What's missing in the psychopath who has that capacity is the necessary ability that what they discover by putting themselves in your shoes has an effect on them, an automatic effect.
If you take a child and they've lost something, in this case, the trust in the parent that is supposed to be able to protect them from trauma, a child first of all becomes sad. It's like when a child loses their favorite toy, they'll cry, they'll be sad. That sadness, if it is not addressed and is not comforted, can quite quickly turn to anger. Okay? Because what's happened is that child has lost the trust in the adults that should be able to protect them. And as soon as that happens, that child loses their innocence. They cease to be children.
Like some things it's just there, you know, some things I really feel emotions for, but other things it's just gone. You know, I'll look around and I'll see people watching the news and something tragic will happen and they're all like, oh my God, like I can't believe that happened, you know, and I'll be like, why? You know, it's just something that happened, you know, move on.
Many Western cultures these days are flooded with violent imagery and promote violence through various media outlets. Violence can be seen on television, in movies, video games, newspapers, magazines, the internet. It's heard in music and virtually every other source of media saturation available. This massive repetitive trauma on the minds of the public gradually desensitizes people to the effects of real-life violence. Many of these cases have involved the shooter using medications such as antidepressants and SSRI drugs. Links have been made between the use of antidepressants and the rise in suicidal tendencies in children.
The subcommittee today will examine the publication and disclosure of clinical studies conducted on prescription drugs. What has raised public interest in the disclosure of clinical trial data has been the controversy over the use of antidepressants in children. 1 out of 6 of our young people is under prescription for some sort of antidepressive drug. That is an amazing statistic.
In 2002, almost 11 million antidepressant prescriptions were written for children and adolescents. 2.7 million of those prescriptions were for children under 12 to kids as young as 7 years old.
The pediatric use of certain antidepressants increased the risk of suicide.
Correct. Suicidality, in other words, thoughts about suicide.
There may be suicidal and hostility increases. Wouldn't you want that on the label?
We want a balance of balanced information that really reflects what is known scientifically about the drug.
You've got internal studies that say suicides may be up 1.89% on Mossholder, and Columbia says, I think, 1.78 times, right?
Suicidality, yeah, right.
Okay.
Other side effects of these drugs have included aggressiveness, agitation, confusion, strange thoughts or dreams, unpredictable mood swings, and unusual changes in behavior. Some have claimed that the recent shootings are the result of government-created Manchurian candidates who are operating under mind control. From the late 1940s until the early 1970s, there are public records of the military and the intelligence community using a variety of techniques to create hypnotic super spies who could kill without memory of the event.
This term Jekyll-Hyde personality is used repeatedly by G.H. Estabrooks. He, at various times, did seminars on military uses of hypnosis and creating the super spy on a variety of different military bases. In 1943, in his textbook Hypnotism, and as late as 1971 in an article in a magazine called Science Digest, he describes creating Manchurian candidates, which is artificial multiple personality, during the Second World War for operational use on contract to the Army. The CIA was concerned that the Soviet was going to buy up the entire world's supply of LSD from Sandoz Pharmaceuticals, which they wanted for their own mind control experimentation and interrogation. So they contracted with Eli Lilly Company in 1953 and 1954 for $400,000, which was a lot of money back then, to manufacture and supply a secure quantity of LSD to them. LSD works on the serotonin system in the brain. The first selective serotonin reuptake inhibitor antidepressant, which works on the serotonin system, was Prozac, manufactured by Eli Lilly Company. So how they developed their expertise in brain serotonin physiology was by being the first manufacturers of LSD.
Although some similarities can be found in the mind control techniques used in the post-war era compared to the recent mass shootings, it is difficult to determine the validity of these claims. Many of these shooters have either committed suicide, were shot by the police, or are currently awaiting trial. Nevertheless, this is a plausible theory which warrants further investigation. The biggest blame is being placed on the laws concerning gun control. Even in countries with very strict gun laws preventing the purchase of assault rifles, the attackers use legally purchased hunting weapons, homemade devices and bombs, or other unconventional methods to kill their victims. In Canada, handguns are considered restricted weapons, which require a license to purchase them. But this has not stopped individuals from obtaining them illegally to use them in crimes. When there's a will, there is a way.
I think Canada does have adequate gun laws for the most part. There's still a lot of problems. People still go out and do crazy things that are horrible. But I think under the sense, I do feel safer in Canada when it comes to guns instead of the U.S.
I think as long as something's being made, someone can get a hold of it. I mean, there's plenty of ways you can find things that are illegal in this city. I think that the laws necessarily aren't going to affect the ability for people to get things. It just might become a little bit more difficult.
In some countries, it is a law that you possess a gun for self-defense, and these countries have some of the lowest violent gun crimes in the world. The Obama administration has cited numerous concerns about the amount of assault rifles in circulation. Meanwhile, the Department of Justice, along with other agencies, ran the Fast and Furious operation, in which thousands of assault rifles and other weapons were deliberately put into circulation and given to the Mexican drug cartels. Many of these weapons ended up back in the United States. President Obama himself appeared to shed tears for the victims of Sandy Hook, while at the same time ordering bombing attacks and funding militants responsible for the deaths of thousands of children around the world in countries like Afghanistan, Pakistan, Libya, and Syria. The sole purpose of the Second Amendment was to protect American citizens from oppressive governments who seek to rule them using military power. We are now seeing the militarization of the civilian police force and the use of a wide variety of military weapons by government agents. The idea of the right to bear arms is to adequately arm the public to defend itself from tyrannical governments. If the government feels the need to arm itself with assault rifles capable of firing hundreds of rounds, the public may feel the need to defend themselves against such an army with comparable weaponry.
The Second Amendment is not about duck hunting. And I know I'm not going to make very many friends saying this, but it's about our rights, all of our rights, to be able to protect ourselves from all of you guys up there.
Just as there is no one cause of mass shootings, there is also not one answer. A combination of living in a culture of violence, which promotes antisocial behavior, the destruction of traditional family and moral values, and added stresses of life have created the perfect storm for a culture of children who may become mentally ill or seek violent antisocial outlets such as murder. Only through a thorough examination of the zeitgeist of contributing issues in our culture can we better understand the balance of public safety and constitutional rights.